Welcome to the Breath Weapon X review for Halloween Ends. So, for full context on this, I started watching these films about 4 days ago. So, 2018 Halloween and then Halloween Kills in preparation to watch Halloween Ends, which my girlfriend really wanted to see, which is not like her. First of all, just a little kind of context on the series. You've got Halloween 2018, which is very kind of, it kind of does go back to the roots, and you can certainly see that it's like he's a bit more spooky, and he's still like an unstoppable juggernaut, but I really liked the way that sort of Laurie had been preparing her whole life. It's kind of cool how you had this whole idea that Laurie's like obsessed, that it's almost like she's the obsession, that she thinks so badly, he's going to come for me, but actually he doesn't really have any interest in her in particular, and it's the Doctor who brings, she just happens to be in his way, which was kind of nice. And I think we'd have liked to see that theme run a bit more through it. Although, to be fair, Laurie doesn't really realise that at the time. Then you got Halloween Kills, which is tonally very jarring compared to the previous one, which was a lot more restraint. This one is mental. It's like he's an unstoppable murder machine. He's killing everyone. I like that scene with the firefighters, which was borderline dumb, but at least you could laugh almost with it, I would say, rather than at it. I don't feel like it took itself that seriously. It gave you exactly what a Halloween film needs. And then we come to Halloween Kills. Right. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a kind of spoiler-free section and then a spoilery section, because I think it's really difficult to talk about this film without going into heavy spoilers, especially if I want to actually give an opinion on it. So, for the spoiler-free section, this is not a Michael Myers movie. And you can tell that from the ending. So, at the ending of Halloween Kills, obviously he gets beaten up and he kind of goes away. And it's like, the implication is now that he's supernatural. And I feel that if you're going to imply that, you need to make it a bit more explicit or give us some sort of reason for it. It's not vague enough that it's making us think, oh, is he supernatural? It's almost telling us, yes, Michael Myers is supernatural, but then never goes into any of that again and kind of ignores it, which, what? So, he's there, and we start following this young kid called Corey, and Corey's involved in this really terrible accident, and it was a pure accident that results in a terrible outcome. And no one in the town wants anything to do with him, which, considering the nature of this accident, is understandable, to be fair. But he's kind of abandoned by everyone apart from his mother, who is awful and overbearing, and he's got no friends, he's got nothing. His stepdad seems really nice and kind of looks out for him, but that's about it. Laurie tries to hook him up with Alison, and that's how he gets kind of involved in this whole Halloween thing. And it takes a good 45 minutes before the film gets anywhere. Like, nothing happens. So that first 45 minutes, it is setting things up in this incredibly slow motion that's just not interesting. More than anything, it's just not interesting. So this kind of all happens, and there are these punks that kind of antagonise Corey, and they keep popping up throughout the film, and they are characters in a film. That's something to say about them. They are there. Well, the whole Michael Myers aspect of this film, I should say, it starts about an hour and a half into this incredibly long-feeling film. For the climax, you certainly understand how that happened, especially knowing the conditions that Michael's been in, because, I don't think this is a spoiler, this isn't set, like Halloween Kills is set directly after Halloween, this isn't set directly after, okay? This is set 4 years into the future. So you realise how Michael's been living for these 4 years, although actually you're never told, or shown, I should say, in any way how he's been surviving. But, I mean, I suppose I can allow that, because you just work it out yourself. It's not hard to imagine how he would have survived. And then Corey meets Michael, and this is where it's really, especially once again, there is definitely something supernatural going on here, but it's not, it's so vaguely put that it happened, and then that's it. We just get like, yeah, that's just a normal thing that happens. I think, without going into more detail, I think that's kind of the really safe spoilery or spoiler-free review part of this. And I would understand if you want to stop the video there and then come back for discussion. I would get that, because I can't say too much more without giving it away. From a spoiler-free point of view, this film is boring. If you've seen the previous two and you need like closure on the series, 100% go and watch it. But this film is slow, boring, and most importantly, it's not a Michael Myers film. I know that people didn't like Halloween Kills. I saw the internet wasn't happy with that film. But no matter what people thought about that film, that's a Michael Myers film. Michael Myers is like rampaging. And that's all I want if I'm going to go and see Halloween. That's all I want from that film. And Halloween Kills, or Halloween Ends, does not deliver. Pause the video if you don't want to see it, because now we're getting into spoiler talk. So the accident is kind of funny, seeing this kid yeeted off the top of the stairs. Corey breaks down the door, and you're like, that's an accident. It's awful, that's an accident. Somehow he doesn't go to prison, which, I don't know, I feel like that's manslaughter. Like, that's definitely, you'd certainly go to prison maybe for, well, I'd feel like you'd certainly go to prison for killing a child. Then you've got this whole Corey-Allison relationship, which just doesn't work for me. He is strange. He is not appealing in any way. He's not particularly kind. He doesn't really seem to have any great qualities. But anyway, they want to go down this route. Let's fast forward to the kids throw him off a bridge. Okay, cool. They throw him off a bridge. He's absolutely fine. He gets knocked out. Michael drags him into the sewer and then does nothing to him until he wakes up. At which point he lets Corey escape so far and then tries to strangle him to death. But then, as Corey is reliving his life before his eyes, which is what I got out of it, Michael sees that he killed someone, and so he lets him go. What in the world of nonsense is that? Then he gets outside. The homeless man who's outside claims he's Michael Myers. He's clearly insane. And Corey ends up stabbing him. And then basically Corey goes and finds lures a cop that he doesn't like, who for some reason sees this dead hobo, and as a policeman doesn't go, oh, get a better call for backup, let's get a squad car down here, let's do anything, let's let someone know I'm going into this dark mystery sewer after someone who I suspect is a murderer. I'm just going to go in. I'm going to go in all by myself. So he goes in all by himself. And like, Corey is like sacrificing this policeman to Michael Myers, who kills him. And then, and like, I think the implication is that it's his life force like being drained into him and makes Michael better. But all of these you could probably get away with one of these supernatural elements, but man, they're just so, there's all this weird nonsensical supernatural stuff that goes literally nowhere. So then Corey and Michael team up to be like this tag team murdering team. And it's just not interesting. Corey is not interesting enough. We don't care about him. He's not made to be that sympathetic. So you've got to follow around this guy who's murdering people, who's with Allison, who I've watched all 3 films. I'm not particularly attached to her. Like, so what, man? And this film just gets funnier and funny. The more you watch it, the more, like, even in the cinema, people were starting to laugh at this film. And I think I don't know why they went down this route. To quickly finish off the film, he tells Allison they're going to go away and get away from this town, which I get. Allison definitely would want to go away from this town. And Corey goes after all the people who've wronged him, but he takes the Michael Myers mask and then goes on a Michael Myers rampage. But it's just not. It just doesn't work because he's not Michael Myers. You know he's not that tall. You know he's not that strong. So anyway, it goes on this rampage, and before getting to Laurie's house, and Laurie's like pretending that she's gonna kill herself to like lull him into a false sense of security. But I get the whole idea was that like Laurie's let go of the fear and she's not like creating a trap anymore. She's just like whatever. But considering the events that happened 40 years ago, and then on top of that, considering your daughter died 4 years ago on Halloween, maybe you'd go away for the weekend. Maybe you just don't stick in this town for like the most traumatic day of your existence. Maybe it'd be like, Alison, pick a town. We're going anywhere you want for this week. We're just getting out of here. But anyway, no. So she kills Corey, who then it's just like so many things that just don't make sense. And Corey hears that Alison's coming, and he's like, well, I'm going to make her think that you did it. So he like takes a knife and he stabs himself. So he stabbed himself in the throat. He's dead. The guy's going to die. To which Laurie then grabs the knife and pulls it out. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you just leave the knife in his throat? That's definitely not going to help him by taking it out. And on top of that, Alison's coming in. Now, what's that going to look like? You're never going to look like you didn't just murder him. So, I don't know, man. But also, Alison comes in. She's freaked out. I guess that's understandable. She doesn't notice the Michael Myers mask's just on the floor next to her boyfriend who's covered in blood. And like Laurie doesn't try and explain anything, so Alison just runs away. Mind you, actually going back, I missed a point being that Laurie made a call saying she'd like to report a suicide. She made a call to the police reporting this suicide, and at no point did the police turn up at her house until Michael Myers has come back to claim his mask, and him and Laurie have had this like ultimate fight off, which she wins, but I don't know, man. I know he's like lived in the sewer for 4 years. I don't see how a very old lady is able to beat Michael Myers myself. It didn't feel earned. It didn't feel like she outwitted him or anything. She just straight up wins this fight. So anyway, then the police finally turn up, and you're like, thank God for that. The ending doesn't feel earned, but then it gets even better. The ending, right? They're like the body of Michael Myers, so they're like, we're going to show the town. So they take, I wish I was making this up. They take the body and they put him on the top of the car, at which point everyone in this town like starts following them, and there's like this funeral procession for Michael Myers, and they go to the junkyard. And then they put him in like the metal grinder, and I kid you not. And as they're putting him in, it looks like Laurie is jumping in with him. It does. But anyway, she's not. And they turn this on, and you get to see Michael Myers' body like ground up, and it is just so dumb. This whole film is so dumb. And I think, look, I'm by no means a writer. I've never written anything worth anything in my life. My greatest piece of writing was a university essay I did on comparing Watchmen the comic book and Watchmen the film, which I think would be quite contested by a lot of people, my opinions on it, but that's fine. It's my opinions. I'm allowed those opinions. But I think what you do, so this is my version of Halloween Kills, right? Or Halloween Ends. You tell right after the end of the film. Alison goes upstairs, she sees Mum, she goes, no! She cries. They get back to the hospital. She goes, Grandma, this isn't over. And Grandma goes, I've had enough of this. He's taken everything from me. He's taken away the last 40 years, and now he's taken my daughter. She gets some painkillers. She injects herself with painkillers. She gets super glue that's on the side. She super glues her stomach shut to make sure it doesn't undone again. She's like, that's it. I'm going after this motherfucker. Okay, yes, this is unrealistic. It's not more unrealistic than anything that's already happened in this film. So we're just going with this, right? She then goes out, and suddenly the weak Michael, the hunter that is Michael, becomes the hunted. And he's just going through a rampage again, trying to get away from Laurie because he knows he's not up for this fight. He's not up for it. And Laurie keeps coming after him. They track him down eventually. And they track him down. And he keeps going through building and building, and everyone murders anything in his path because he's a scared animal. He's terrified. And then eventually they catch up to each other, and they have one big final face-off. And my endings, I'm torn with my endings. Either they take each other out in the way that, both of us must die for this to end, which, it's cliche, but it works. Or she sees that actually he's just a wounded, scared animal right now, and she doesn't give in to that side of her. She doesn't take revenge, and he goes and gets locked up, and that's it. Which then allows you to bring him back maybe one day, or maybe not. But yeah, Halloween Ends. It's just boring. That's the best way to put it. It's boring, and it's not quite so bad it's good. It's very nearly so bad it's good. It is so close to so bad it's good, but it's just not. So, Halloween Ends. 4 out of 10. It's slightly too bad to be just boring. So, Halloween Ends, 4 out of 10. So, yeah, if you've seen the film, if you've got any opinions, comment below, let me know, and yeah, see you around.